Well, good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for coming today to our neighborhood meeting, and this is our last meeting for 2024, so welcome everyone. And we have Councilman Lipsitz with us today, but I know that the mayor and Councilman Mitchell send their regrets because they're at an affordability housing meeting in Bluffton morning, so otherwise they would have tried to have been here. We have a great speaker today. We've got Jeff LaRue, who is the communications officer, the chief communications officer for Beaufort Jasper Water Sewer Authority, and he's got several team members here with him. And so I think we'll just get to it with Beaufort Jasper and have Jeff do his presentation and talk us through all the projects that they've got going on. So welcome again, and it's great to see everyone.
It's good to have you back, Kathleen.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.
I probably don't need.
I'm gonna try it without that. If I get the universal hand signal that you can't hear me, let me know. I want to thank Kathleen. I want to thank all of you for this opportunity. We are working hard to get out and meet face to face with groups like this and the groups that you represent. And I will make the early pitch that I understand you all represent different neighborhoods. If you can assemble 10 folks together that'll sit still for 15 or 20 minutes, I'm happy to come out, talk to y'all about global issues or really get down to the nitty gritty. And in that vein, we're going to try to give you a quick preview who we are, what we do, and I'm going to ask one of my colleagues to step up in just a moment to explain that. Also, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the challenges we're facing, what you can do to help, and then we also are going to mention a project or a set of projects that Kathleen mentioned. You all, there are kind of hot news here talking about replacement of galvanized pipes in the area, and for that, I can give the global view on that. But if you really want to get into the nitty gritty, I even brought one of our planners, Katie Guerrero. Katie, will you give us a quick break? She is in charge of our galvanized pipe replacement projects in this area. We also have Kylie Bree. Kylie, if you'll raise your hand. Kylie is brand new to our communications team at Beaufort Jasper. And finally, Haley Hughes, who I'm going to invite up here, has been with Beaufort Jasper much longer than I have. She's going to give kind of an overview of who we are, what we do. I'm going to get into a little more details and we'll do some Q&A at the end of that. So with that.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name, like Jeff said, is Haley Hughes, and I'm going to kind of walk you through the overview of Beaufort Jasper Water and Sewer Authority and what we do. So next slide, please. We're going to cover briefly the water treatment side of our operations, its infrastructure, the wastewater treatment side, its infrastructure, our ongoing challenges, how we can work with you to address those challenges, and then there'll be some Q&A and discussion later. All right, so I'm sure it's not news to you that water treatment, successful water treatment, is one of the greatest factors in extending the lifespan of humans. Antibiotics do get an honorable mention, but water treatment is a key factor. The first community began treating water, disinfecting water in 1908. And before then, typhoid fever, cholera just ran rampant in cities where there was no water treatment or sewage disposal. Thousands soon followed, began treating. Typhoid fever occurrence in the US dropped from 100 in 100,000 to 0.1 in 100,000. And water treatment is a key factor that distinguishes developed countries from undeveloped countries.
What's the name of the first community?
Was it Philadelphia?
It was actually in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
I think it's Princeton, New Jersey. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was.
You didn't know
And our mission is to provide quality water and wastewater services to our current and future customers in the Lowcountry. We serve 2 counties, Beaufort and Jasper. That's about 750 square miles. 4 municipalities are included in that: Bluffton, Beaufort, Hardyville, Port Royal. 48,400 sewer connections, 69,000 water connections, and that translates to about 165 people, individuals. And we have 7 wholesale customers, including Hilton Head. Our primary water source is the Savannah River. And it feeds along, water from the Savannah River feeds along an 18-mile long canal to both our Chelsea water treatment plant, which as you might know is located on Snake Road in Okatee, and then Purrysburg, which is just right outside of Hardyville. Chelsea has a capacity of 24 million gallons of water treatment capacity. Purrysburg has 15 million gallons a day treatment capacity for a total of 39. Purrysburg is currently undergoing an expansion project. It will come online sometime next year, 2025, and it will double its capacity to 30 million gallons a day. We have more than 1,500 miles of water main throughout our service area, 10 booster pump stations, 8,700 fire hydrants, 25,000 valves roughly, and the capacity to store 6 million gallons in our elevated storage tanks across our service area and in our ASRs. So you'll see here, this is our shared watershed. It runs all the way up from upstate Greenville area, all the way down to our area in Beaufort County. Now, as far as the wastewater side of our operations, we have a total treatment capacity of 10.5 million gallons a day, 8 treatment plants, total capacity of 20 million gallons a day. On the wastewater side, we serve approximately 48,000 retail customers with more than 1,000 miles of collection main and more than 600 lift stations. We do that through a combination of biological treatment, UV light, chemical disinfection. And we're very proud to say that at our Perf facility located in Port Royal, we have a solar array that generates 1,200 milliwatts of energy annually. So when you flush your toilet, where does it go? Once it enters our treatment system and is treated successfully, it's then discharged in several different areas. One is the Great Swamp Effluent Management System. It helps to protect 980 acres of natural forested wetlands. We do work with golf courses. They use that treated wastewater effluent to irrigate their courses. And then it's discharged into the Savannah Broad and Beaufort rivers. Now, there's a little bit of an ick factor when people think, oh, we're putting wastewater back into our water source. But let me assure you that once it leaves our treatment plants, it is near drinking water standards. Would I drink it? No, but it's near drinking water standards, I can assure you. All right, so generally, what we try to do for keep our fiscal operations sustainable is we want to make sure that we're meeting existing and future requirements for your health and safety, the people in our service area. We're walking a very fine line, and we're cognizant of the fact that we're balancing our rates with the needs of our service area with regards to reliability, safety, and environmental issues. We're investing back into our system to meet the demands of our growing population. And we're also adjusting to higher costs associated with staffing, the chemicals, and materials, construction materials, and the materials that we need just for our everyday operations. All right, our strategic plan has many different areas. We want to invest in our workforce through recruiting to retaining, developing, and training. Promote financial stability, sustainability, just as I spoke about. Manage risk and leverage innovation through a safe work environment, practicing sustainability and stewardship, and improving emergency response. We want to ensure that our infrastructure remains viable through master planning, leveraging our assets technology and optimizing system performance. We really want to engage our stakeholders and customers through enhancing customer education like we're doing here today, hopefully. And coordinating with you all to spread the message about what we're doing. You today are empowered to become our representatives out in the community. Hopefully you go home today and share with your neighbors, share with your friends and family what you hear today and help spread our message. All right, some of the key projects that we have going on right now. We actually just received the permit from DHEC to expand our Cherry Point wastewater treatment plant. That will take us from 7.5 million gallons a day to 11.25 million gallons a day. As I mentioned earlier, we're expanding in Perrysburg. That's going to come online next year, and that will double capacity from 15 million gallons a day to 30. We're also doing a May River watershed protection in the Stony Creek area in Bluffton. You may have seen this or heard about it. We are working with property owners in that area who were on septic systems to get them off of their septic systems and onto our water and sewer infrastructure, our lines. And also, we have a new elevated tank project underway. It's at the corner of Bluffton Parkway and Buckwalter. And that will provide us 1.5 million gallons of storage, and that will help with addressing discolored water issues, water pressure, and enhance the firefighting capabilities in that area. So we're going to touch a little bit more on this, I think, a little bit later, and Katie is here to answer any questions, the nitty-gritty questions that you have. But we currently have a galvanized main replacement project underway. You can see here the map. It may be a little hard to look down into the fine details, but we have the maps printed out in large scale available for you to view. It's currently underway, about 17 job sites. And this will improve pressure and other issues related to our infrastructure, including discolored water. It will enhance flows for firefighting, and about 5 miles of main are going to be replaced in the city by 2027. South of boundary surveys will begin this winter, and construction will last through 2026. 25 plus job sites, and again, maps are available for your view towards the end of this meeting. So, and I'm going to turn it back to Jeff. So thank you.
Before we move on from this slide, if you look at these or you look at the maps, you could be led to believe that the whole city is going to be torn up at the same time. That is not the case. Each one of these lines, it's going to take about a week or two. So if we, of the 25 job sites on the south of Boundary Street, that does not mean 25 active job sites at one time. That's a block or two moving on to the next block or two, so on and so forth. And you know what, I started off on the wrong foot and shared some bad information with you. While Haley was talking, I double checked. The first city to chlorinate their water was not Princeton. It was 52 miles away in Jersey City, New Jersey. So, sorry. I'll endeavor to make that the last lie I tell you, okay? All right, I think we can move on. So what are some of the challenges we're facing? Service demand. We are seeing about 3,000 new connections a year. To put that in perspective, that is a small town being added to our service area every year. Cost increases, depending on what you're talking about when it comes to construction or even operations. Equipment and supplies have increased from 20 to 50% just in the past few years. There are regulatory changes. Our primary regulator is US EPA, and as science improves, we are discovering new things we didn't even know existed, and we're able to detect things at a much more microscopic level than we ever were able to do before. With that extra knowledge, there's the expectation to remove these things from our water. That's expensive, so that's another challenge. And then there's construction limitations. Just because there's so much construction going on around here, if, for instance, we're building a water treatment plant, or expanding a water treatment plant, doubling its size. It's very difficult for us to get contractors and workers to come to build it because they're building in Savannah, they're building in Charleston. Big institutional construction companies are somewhat limited in number, and we're competing for their attention. This kind of illustrates the rate of growth that we're seeing in the area. Population growth in the United States has grown by 7.7%. We are at 20.6 in Beaufort County and 28.4% in Jasper County. The takeaway is we are one of the fastest growing states in the whole country, and we are two of the fastest growing counties in the whole state. I probably don't have to tell you that if you stopped at a traffic light anytime recently, you've experienced it yourself. But that's a real challenge for us. And we don't want to invest in infrastructure that and build huge pipes that may serve no one someday. But we need to have them ready when the people move in. So we don't want to overbuild, build too fast. We need to be building at the right time, at the right pace, at the right cost, in the right place. Do you have a question?
Yeah, do you have any plan or are you doing anything to encourage infill growth more than just extending long pipes that serve, 10 units an acre instead of?
I'm not sure if everybody heard, but he's asking, do we have plans to encourage infill growth as opposed to big developments in big fields and tearing down trees? That is something we're talking about and working with our municipal leaders to encourage that. For example, if a tap fee is what we call the fee that it costs to connect to our system. If that in an infill situation, oftentimes that tap fee was paid by someone else, maybe years ago. So the infill project doesn't have to incur that like a greenfield development. And we recently made the decision to nearly triple our capacity fees or the tap fees, which impact mostly those big greenfield developments. Does that answer your question?
Yes, is the cost, at least I've found in downtown Beaufort, usually there never was a tap. And so they're charged just the same as any other tap.
That could be the case. It varies from location to location. It is something we're talking about more and more. So. Okay, I think we can go to the next slide. So what are we doing to try to meet the need? We're expediting our investments. We're taking creative solutions. Things like our Cherry Point wastewater plant, which discharges into the Great Swamp. Something we're sensitive about is we don't want the Great Swamp to become the Great Lake. There are already those up in the Midwest. We need to expedite water. I got one laugh on that. We're looking for ways to expedite flow through the Great Swamp. We are working with landscapers and property owners to adjust and manage the irrigation schedules that they use, and we're recruiting new staff. One of the challenges when it comes to recruiting new staff is, like I said, we have a whole lot of people moving here. The thing is, most of those folks moving to this area aren't interested in working. They've finished their work life. So we've got people who need services. We find it difficult to find young people who would supply those services. So we have to throw a bigger net further to bring people down here and so that we have talented staff. And moving on. So some of our realities. Traditional infrastructure planning timelines are being outpaced by by the unprecedented growth. Utility construction is much more expensive than it was just a few years ago. There are unfunded regulatory mandates coming down the pike. Fees for capacity, those fees paid by developers, need to substantially increase, and rates need to keep pace with operating and regulatory costs. Now, what you can do to help as a community leader, we want you to understand that this unprecedented growth is putting a strain on our infrastructure, and collaborative planning is crucial. We're asking you to help educate residents about the system challenges we're facing and the need to follow our irrigation management plan, which I'm going to get into in just a moment. So the irrigation management plan, we're asking customers to water on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday if they have an odd number address, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday if they have an even number address. Nobody water on Monday mornings. That is when the greatest strain is on our distribution system. And we're asking people to apply irrigation management stickers if you've got an irrigation system. My friend right over here, Kylie, has you're doing a great Vanna White, by the way. These stickers, we ask you to take those stickers, take a Sharpie, mark that this is an even number address, this is an odd number address, put it on your irrigation timer so that even if you don't adjust that timer, maybe you have a service, we find a lot of our folks do. It has the instructions, shows that you know what's up and you're sensitive to sustainable irrigation. And apply those to your box. So we're expediting infrastructure investment and construction to try to keep up with demands. We're working to educate leaders about our challenges. We're asking you to work with us to manage demand, especially during dry weather events, and then encourage understanding and participation in the irrigation management plan. With that, I'm going to open it up to questions. We can put anything on the table, but I will ask in the public session of this, try to get your questions to be kind of global in concern. If you've got a specific question, you want to know why your water rate was high in July, and you want to talk about your specific issues, we'll stick around and answer those afterwards. Yes, sir.
Is water supply a bigger issue or wastewater?
First of all, I want to say water supply is not an issue for us at all. The Savannah River is a very hardy supply. The challenge and the bottleneck we face is being able to treat it fast enough and get it out. And getting it out, and what ends up happening is on the supply side is everybody wants to use the water for irrigating, showering, and other morning routines at the same time. And that is basically between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. The more we can push the demand to outside of that 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. window, the better it is for us. In fact, we ask people to try not to irrigate after 3 a.m. because that's 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. is when we're filling up our water towers, getting ready for the day and that morning draw. And we, on a very dry day, when it's been dry for several weeks, we can monitor our water towers and we fill them up at from 3 to 6. And then we form prayer circles around those water towers as we just watch the limit start to drop as we're pumping water into the system as fast as we can from the water treatment plant. On the wastewater side, that is a challenge, but it's mostly a challenge in very localized areas. Here, we're more concerned about supply of fresh drinking water to everybody during those morning challenges. South of the Broad, we have some pockets where wastewater is a bigger concern. Other questions? Yes, sir.
On your map there, the street map, you showed the galvanized pipe. I outlined them in blue. Why are they in piecemeal? Why aren't they continuous lines? You're just replacing segment of the galvanized pipe? Or
No, our intention is to replace, and Katie, please jump in if you feel the need, but
what it was drawn up is
it is,
segmented.
they're not all those lines are not galvanized. Galvanized when it came out was the bee's knees. We really thought this is great. And for several years it is, until that galvanized coating on the inside starts to deteriorate. So over years, where those galvanized pipes have failed, mains have been replaced. It's not galvanized anymore. What we're doing is we're cleaning up the pieces that didn't get replaced for one reason or another over the years. So, yes, ma'am.
About the galvanized pipes that come into people's homes.
Most of those, we're working to identify those. We just put a new page on our website that where you can look up your address and see if it is galvanized or if it is not. If it is galvanized, and if it is past the meter, traditionally, water utilities are not responsible. That's the ownership of or the responsibility of the owner. Having lived in a 100-year-old house that had galvanized pipes, and when we had to replace some of those pipes, and as I was cutting them out, you know, a 3/4 inch pipe might have a pinhole where water's finally getting through. Many people have replaced them because of the problems it's caused over the years. Some still need to be replaced. Generally, that is the responsibility of the homeowner. Yes,
But you say there's a map online that we can identify?
there is.
Can you
And
give us that?
it's on our website. If you look on, Haley, what is is it,
Yeah, I
What's
don't know
that
the
page?
specific URL, but it's, if you go to, our water quality webpage. And then you should see, a directive to, lead. And it's called our lead service line inventory, and that's where you can find that database.
maybe the easiest thing to do would be go to our webpage and just search lead service lines or
Thank you.
service line inventory.
Sure.
Your customer service told us about the app Ion Water. And it is amazingly accurate. It showed we did have a water leak, and almost the minute it was repaired, it said, congratulations, you no longer have a leak. But that is amazing. If you're on vacation, you can check it and make sure that, you know, you don't have a problem at your house.
Yeah, I appreciate the pitch, your check's in the mail. But, yeah, for everybody, if anybody didn't hear, we do have a really innovative system called Ion Water that, once you sign up, it can track your water usage, hour to hour, even minute to minute. And if it finds that you're using consistently, you know, 4 gallons an hour, every hour over a 24-hour period, it sends you a text message and says, hey, something's going on, you may have a leak. So I've got a gentleman even showing us his example. It really is good to help you identify leaks and just see where your water's going. One of the things we know from monitoring is, I mentioned irrigation earlier. Our consumption goes up by 50% on a hot, dry day. And most of that water, and this is water that we've treated to drinking water standards, most of that water is getting sprayed on grass, and an uncomfortable amount of it is getting sprayed in the street and on the sidewalks. I see and scream silently in my head. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to get in line for a check too, because I want to mention that to others who are in associations, Haley has been a wonderful resource for materials that I do materials for new neighbor packages for Pigeon Point. And Haley has provided all kinds of wonderful things that go into that new neighbor package having to do with your service, and some really cute little ballpoint pens for example.
Oh, the ballpoint pens, a little bit.
They're really
They're popular.
but if anybody doesn't take advantage of that, I'm suggesting you do, because it really is a great service.
Yeah,
I also have a question.
okay. Well, before we go to your question, I do want to say Haley is awesome. I've only been with the authority officially since February. Haley's been with the authority for, you're almost 4 years now, right?
Almost 4 years.
Yeah, and she makes my life easier and is really dedicated to reaching out to communities like the ones you represent. She's fantastic. I feel very blessed to have her on my team. All right, your question.
Is, years ago, probably when you were a toddler, there was a
I am
lot.
53 years old.
Well, that's probably about when it was, but in any event, there was a lot of hoopla, discussion, whatever, about tritium and the Savannah River. And somebody even wrote a funny song, the last line of which was, "And what the hell is tritium?" And it was very popular at the time. Where are we on the risk factor as far as the Savannah River and the bomb plant, excuse that nomenclature, is concerned?
Okay, so Teridium, for those that don't remember the 1970s.
Yeah.
That's the young folks, is a radioactive isotope and it has been detected in the Savannah River. We monitor for it, we watch it closely. We are not detecting it in our finished drinking water, but it is something we keep an eye on. But I think the root of your question is, what is the level of concern? It is concerning in that we're watching for it and would treat for it if we needed to, but we're confident right now I don't want to say it's not a concern, we're watching it, but it's not been detected at levels that we're concerned about.
Are you interested in addressing the current fluoride question?
No. I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to talk about it, but what specifically is your question? Or actually, before you ask your question, a recent court decision out of California, basically, the EPA was directed to do more studies to figure out the correct levels, if there is any correct level of additional fluoride to be added to drinking water. So they're going to do more studies. We will, I expect, follow those studies. But do you have
No, I just have wondered, I think I'm sort of a prime example because I grew up in a little bitty town where there was not fluoride in the water, and I have awful teeth. But my younger siblings, after we moved to a more urban area, have not had the same sort of problems. Now, that could be happenstance, who knows? But I've often wondered about that when I see studies about fluoride.
Yeah, it's emerging science. They're doing more research. I will say that the common or a common perspective now is we have fluoride toothpaste, fluoride mouthwash. Dentists are putting fluoride either gel or painting it on your teeth. And with those advances and with the availability of fluoride in consumer products, it may not be needed at the same level that it once was considered to be needed. So I wouldn't be surprised. This is total speculation. This is not a policy of Beaufort Jasper. I wouldn't be surprised if in 5 years or so, we either probably I would expect we would reduce the amount of fluoride or the levels of fluoride added to water. It is naturally occurring in our water to some extent. I don't know that we'll stop using it completely. It wouldn't hurt to have to buy one less chemical to add to the water, but I think what you'll see in 5 years or so is we will be adding less of it because you're getting more of it in your dental hygiene products.
Thank you.
Other questions? If you have other questions that are more specific to your property, we'll stick around. You may also want to visit the maps. The maps we showed up on the screen were not comprehensive. We'll sit back here. If you want stickers for your irrigation timer, Kylie has them, and if you have welcome packets for your neighbors, she can give you bundles if you like. So thank you all very much for having us out here. We really appreciate it. And remember, if you have smaller groups and you would like us to come out, we are eager to do that. So.
Do you want me, are you all right if I share your email information?
Absolutely.
Or Haley's with the neighborhood association?
Absolutely. And if you want to share the PowerPoint presentation, feel free to do that.
That would be great.
And my both mine and Haley's contact information is on the last slide of the presentation. And I've got some business cards up here if you like. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I just wanted to ask Councilmember Lipsitz, have you had any news or information you'd like to share with the group?
I just looked up, my house is galvanized. I was, before I came here as a dentist, got the fluoride.
Good job, Jill.
That's what it was before here. So, pending final inspection, Southside Park ribbon cutting is tentatively, and this is tentatively set for the 27th of this month, 10 PM.
I need to send a press release out on that. I wanted to double check on the date.
Well, we need
before I
to
did it.
confirm it, JJ, it's pretty much confirmed, we just have to have the final inspection next week. And once that's done, I think it's pretty much a done deal. That's been, what, 25 years in the making, so it's finally.
Thank
become a
you,
reality.
Neil, for that.
But no, don't make me thank all of council.
Well-
It was a team effort. I was one who pushed it.
You
maybe
were a
little harder.
cheerleader.
I was a cheerleader, but it was a team effort. I'm not gonna take,
It's gonna be a great addition to the city
Yeah.
and the whole community.
and that's about all I have to say right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, one other thing. Thank you for rehiring me for 4 years.
He's gonna need a.
So we're gonna hear from our department heads, but I wanna start with JJ and an update maybe on some capital projects and anything else you wanna share with the group.
Hi. Trying to save my voice for council tonight. I've been in North Carolina this weekend having to burn some debris, so my sinuses are debris. Not doing so great. Thank you all for being here. I want to introduce Raul Dominguez. He is our new capital projects director. So he has hit the ground running. He is helping get Southside Park across the finish line. The Allison Road Streetscape project. We have an upcoming capital improvements planning work session on November 26th, Tuesday evening at 5 PM with council. We're going to go over all of our capital projects. We have a lot in the pipeline. We have a lot of RFQs, RFPs for construction design services out right now that we are hoping to get into contract on those for the end of the year. Finishing up some ARPA funded projects, that's the American Relief Plan Act funded projects. Those have to be under contract by the end of this year, December 31st. We've reprioritized some things at the last couple of council meetings, and we're working towards those. But as far as any specific projects, does anybody have any questions?
What projects are you gonna be discussing at this 11/26 meeting? These capital projects, can you give us
So
titles?
we have about 24, 25 active capital projects right now in the city. We will do a quick overview of all of the capital projects, and we will primarily be focusing in on our stormwater projects that we have grant funding on. There will also be the Pigeon Point Playground will be discussed, the Pigeon Point boat landing will be discussed, that we're reviewing the bid that came in for that on the 31st right now. Duke Streetscape will be going out to bid. We'll be giving an update on the design and utility coordination on that. And Raul, anything else?
Park.
Oh, waterfront park, yes. Yes, I'm gonna-
The elephant in the room.
Yeah, waterfront park, we don't have a riverboat docked out there anymore.
We do not.
No, Port Royal.
Yes, I saw that this
Yeah.
weekend. The waterfront park relieving platform engineering, we went out to bid for construction, I'm sorry, not construction, for design services. And we are finishing up the review of those bids, and we'll be bringing that to council. Talk about at the November 26th work session, and then to enter into contract in December for that, and that will be done in conjunction with a lot of other things we have going on. Council's looking into appointing a committee to look at the marina situation. And that is also going to tie into some of our downtown stormwater projects, because one of the outlets is, or outfalls is underneath Waterfront Park. So I want to make sure all that's coordinated. Yes, sir.
Anything on the Washington Street Park for capital?
Yes, Washington Street Park, we have received a bid, and all of that information is with the South Carolina Department of Commerce right now for approval. We fully expect that that will be approved, and that is just because part of the funding for that project is a HUD CDBG grant. So all contracts have to be reviewed by Commerce. Commerce has been a little bit behind with all the deadlines, but I fully expect groundbreaking on the construction first of next year.
I have a question. I don't know if
Yes,
now's the good time, but there's a pedestrian light down on Charles Street near the Baptist Street Church.
I just sent a message to Nate about that.
I don't know if anybody else walks Charles Street, but a lot of those poles are right in the middle of just like a 4-foot sidewalk. Now might be a good time to make sure those don't go back right in the middle of everyone's way.
So that's been looked at and discussed in our capital planning meetings, meetings with Dominion Energy, Beaufort Jasper Water and Utility Coordination. I don't know what the long-term plan is going to be, but that is an issue that's being taken into consideration. Raul's been working with all of our utilities to make sure that doesn't happen on Allison Road.
That raises a question for me, when Dominion is now burying the lines on all the major poles, what about feeding into the individual properties? Is that included? Is that,
It's gonna be project specific.
if it's along a road that has residential homes, the residential homes will be buried at no charge to the homeowner, is that correct?
That is correct on the existing projects. That's usually the approach I've seen taken. Yes, ma'am.
They're all over down on the south side, are they gonna replace all of those poles? I know they've got one in the corner of Battle Creek, and then I see they've got some stakes a little further up.
That you're talking about the big transmission line? Yes, that everything's going to those large metal poles. Yes, ma'am.
I have a comment.
Okay.
Y'all get ready. One of the things that frustrates the heck out of me is that people expect such a rapid response to any situation, giving no thought to all the investigatory kinds of stuff that needs to go into looking at a project. I don't know how, Kathleen, I'm thinking about communications. I don't know whether there is here's how you deal with a project 101 kind of thing. You know, I can't tell you how many people have said about the Pigeon Point boat landing. Well, all it needs is giving no thought to the big picture and what it really needs. And I don't know what it needs. I'm gonna trust you all to determine what it needs. But in the meantime, there's all this chatter, like there always is, on social media about, well, why is it taking so long? And I don't know whether there's a way to try to educate the public about the big picture and the regulatory piece of it and the engineer, the whole thing is why it takes so long, not to mention money.
So that's something we've been trying to focus on internally with clarifying our processes, having a more transparent decision-making process for administrative decisions, educating the public, having these quarterly capital project work sessions that we started this summer. So there's constant updates in the community actually knows what those processes are. Every project's a little different, and we've been deciding what best practices to adopt to make those processes run quicker. For example, with the Pigeon Point boat landing, initially we were looking at potential grant funding opportunities. It was a community survey, the question of, do we do a master plan? We just fix the dock, we just fix the grant. We got the public feedback. What we ultimately did was bid the project out in several scopes. So it's design build for the ramp, design build for the dock, and then design build for the master planning services. So we can go ahead, when we enter into contract, have the engineers do the dock, have them do the boat ramp, get that part functioning while everything else is being designed. But if the community didn't want a master plan, then, you know, we could have moved a little bit faster. But every project's gonna be a little different, and it's our job to communicate with the public effectively, consistently. Anything else, or I run to another meeting? Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing all of you at council tonight. I'm gonna get on the 26th.
So we're gonna hear from our department representatives. Bruce, can you want to come up, our building inspector, just fill us in on what's going on with you?
I'm Bruce Skipper, building department, floodplain manager. No really major updates lately, just as we go through these little storm events. If you do receive a little damage, just kind of let us know, because we had to track a lot of that stuff and give it to FEMA, whether they do anything with it or not, who knows, but we still have to track it, and we have to comply with their rules and regulations. So if you do get a little storm damage, just let us know, and we'll document it as we might need to. As you see, construction is still banging hard, and with the economy going obviously in a positive direction, looks like we're in for a long busy spell. So if you're looking for contractors, be selective, do your homework, make sure you review projects they've done in the past. Don't be so quick, just take the first guy that'll respond to you, because you may be sorry. So not that we don't have extremely good contractors out there, so, but just make sure you do your homework before you hire the first guy comes through the door. Got any questions? You run into a snag with somebody, just let us know. We'll try to give you best counsel possible. But sometimes when you're in a contract between a contractor and yourself, it's a contract between you guys, and so just be careful when you sign it, before you sign that contract. Okay. Any questions?
Bruce is another good resource or material to put in those new neighbor packages, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Ken Miola, our code enforcement.
Thank you. I don't really have anything to offer. It's been a really busy October, November with the elections and signs. And I've been gone. This is all over with. I don't have anything else to offer. If you have questions or concerns, I think I see the familiar faces. Everyone knows how to get in touch with me if you don't. This is fun. I get my cell phone. Happy to help whenever I can.
Brian Higgs from our fire department.
Hey everybody, morning. My name is Brian Hicks. I'm a firefighter with the city of Beaufort. I also assist John Badger when I'm not on the floor. The only thing we have is that December, the first week, which is the 1st through the 7th, is the last time you can burn throughout this year. So if you want to burn, go ahead and come see us in Sarah at 135 Reebok Road. She'll give you a nice little burn permit, explains all the rules. Make sure you follow the rules, because if not, we may not be getting your burn permit next. Any questions?
What are the dates again?
The 1st through the 7th. So it's the always first full week of November and December. And then next would be March. Yeah, it's Saturday, Sunday. Any other questions?
Lieutenant Spires.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, from the police department, there's not really any specific crime trends going on in the city, but the police officers are handling a little bit of everything citywide. Last month, the officers either handled or initiated themselves in 4,063 calls for service. Now that could be a community event, or self-initiated type of calls where they actually patrol the place or respond to something that is not, that hasn't come through the 911 system, but if you break that down, that's a lot of calls for service for the daily count. They also in citywide, they frequently make traffic stops resulting in, DUIs, drug possessions, warrants, and things like that. In reference to community outreach, last month, officers attended quite a few Halloween events, trunk or treat events, and downtown events. And the patrol officers continue to stop by the Washington Street Park suppers that are held on every Friday. And we're planning a movie night for families and school-age children during the winter break, the school winter break in early January. And the Boys Volunteer Program, we're gonna be working with them to deliver gifts to the people that they call. Sometimes referred to as shut-ins, but they're not all shut-ins, but they're people that we check on, the Boys Volunteers check on weekly, and if they don't get an answer or they think something's the matter, they send an officer by there. We're doing good on our staffing levels. We currently have 2 at the academy and 3 newly hired officers that are training at the police department. We're maintaining our school resource officer program. We have 6 SROs in the 5 public schools with 2 of them in the high school. They're practicing their lockdown drills with the school district and the patrol team. So knock on wood, don't want anything to happen, but we're ready. At the schools. Speeding and traffic enforcement, the officers conduct traffic enforcement citywide, but we've been focusing here some lately on Rebo Road. It's hard, it's actually kind of hard to enforce the speed limit on Rebo Road when traffic is real busy because you can't safely get turned around on a vehicle that's speeding. And there's not many places to park on the side of the road. But we do have our speed awareness trailer out there with a message board on it now. It'll tell you to slow down and flash the emergency lights at you if you're going too fast. And that almost subconsciously works to slow traffic down. And the options are running radar in areas where they can do it safely. There were 440 traffic stops last month. Not all those are tickets, but there were 440 traffic stops that could be issued warning tickets or traffic tickets. We also have the first set of what we call plot cameras are installed. They're traffic cameras where you can input information of stolen vehicles, vehicles that are reported to belong to missing people, vehicles that have warrants. And since those came online a couple weeks ago, I believe there's 5 online right now at the major intersections and the points where you enter and exit the city limits. We've already made 5 cases of warrants and stolen vehicles. And what it does is sends the police officers a message in real time that this vehicle was just at this intersection with a license plate that says the car is stolen out of Georgia or something. And then a reminder about the camera registry program and the crime prevention, reference to the 9 p.m. routine, which I'm sure you all heard me talk about, especially this time of year where it gets darker earlier. Just remember to lock things up, taking crime prevention measures. If there's any questions, contact me, police department, or email me. Any concerns right now?
A personal observation, have you noticed any increase in construction related to the roadways?
No, we have noticed a little bit of, you're supposed to, like, if the materials that you're carrying stick out in the back of a vehicle, it can only be between 4 and 6 feet. Can't get any more than 4, and it can't stick out to the right or left of the vehicle. If it does from 4 feet to 6 feet, you have to put a red flag on it or a light at nighttime, and it can't be more than 6 feet. You don't have to have anything if it's up to 4 inches sticking out that. I do see some of the violations along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about.
Yeah, following.
Roofing shingles and lumber, Rebo Road, through Port Royal, Ladies Island Bridge, I mean, there's.
I haven't noticed it like specifically, but I definitely have in areas where the streets aren't cleaned by like the street protect vehicle, there definitely seems to be a lot of debris building up in those areas. And a lot of dead animals too. It seems like it must be mating season or something because we're having a large amount of animals end up getting hit on the road.
Do you have any control over monitoring the semis that cross over the swing bridge?
Not like automatic control, but they did pass the ordinance recently, giving that a little bit of time to settle in, for people to be aware of, and then we would definitely start enforcing it hard, but another big part of it is getting word out to the trucking companies so they can put it into their programs or navigation programs, because we learned that some of those navigation programs weren't indicating that certain roads were truck routes and not truck routes. And
They can't read the sign,
What's that?
and they
Yeah,
can't
that
read the
was,
sign.
and we have changed the signs, but they don't, the signs don't seem to work as well these days. People seem to pay attention to their navigation devices, but there's also working on that as well. But the new ordinance to enforce going over the bridge is in place. And I think it's not necessarily new, but it's been revised some, and
When do you think that'll start? It'll be.
the officers are starting already to enforce it, but there's not anything really automatic. It just takes someone calling in, letting us know, or an officer observing it. Anything else?
It is a problem as a pedestrian and a bicyclist to cross Freebo Road on Bay Street or North Street with the light, the crosswalk, people running red lights. Jeremiah almost got hit a couple weeks ago. It's a real problem.
Yeah, and the only thing we can do is try to be there. If you guys want to, if you can call it in, that also will be on our records and we can see where to put officers. So calling it in is a good thing, and I'll also pass the word to control officers and look out for that. They did redo the no turning on the red light, no turning right on red at North Street and Rebo. That seemed to help when they added the actual red circle to it, so they kept people's attention a little bit more, but you start to problem right as well. But yeah, I'll pass that on to the control.
I don't know who to talk to, but I think if the timing was changed, that light is in the morning, sometimes it's just 5 seconds. And I think a lot of people have gone through it that way because they know it's so short. And if you're a pedestrian, if you don't hit the button, you get off your bike and push the button, you get the full 15 seconds or whatever.
Okay, yeah, I'll pass that on to, I think Public Works, maybe it'll have to be put on the timing. Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you. I'm Sarah from Downtown Operations.
We have a bunch of things coming up, the start of December. Neil kind of beat me to the punch on this, but Southside Park ribbon cutting for phase 1 is pending completion on November 27th at 10 a.m. We are offering free parking in the marina lot from Thanksgiving to New Year's. Santa is going to be coming to Beaufort every Saturday from November 30th to December 21st. With the season coming, remember to shop downtown and shop small. You can keep an eye out on our Main Street Facebook page and Instagram. We'll be pushing some of the specials and special events that businesses are doing downtown. Artist Sunday is December 1st. So you can come out, support your local artists and their creative works that make great one-of-a-kind gifts for friends and family. Make sure you grab your ticket to the Gullah Kinfolk Christmas Wish going on at USCB December 5th and 6th. That's starting at 7 p.m. both of those nights. We have a holiday weekend coming up. That's the first full weekend in December. So December 6th is going to be Night on the Town. That is a road closure on Bay Street. Night on the Town is from 6 to 9 and it ends with a tree lighting ceremony in the waterfront park, which is always fun. December 7th, we have Gullah Taste of Christmas in the waterfront park, and that features authentic Gullah cuisine and live entertainment. And then following that, we have the lighted boat parade where we're partnering with the Beaufort Water Festival this year to put that on. And then Sunday, we have our Christmas parade. December 31st, we'll have New Year's Eve fireworks again this year. And then the annual Beaufort Oyster Festival will be January 18th through the 19th.
So much going on. Alan, I'm our finance director.
Good morning. The city's fiscal year end is June 30th. Now we're working on our audit. Auditors came a couple weeks ago, did some field work testing. Now we're wrapping up our report. We should have our audit report ready by the end of the year. So we're working on that, but happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
I just wanted to mention a couple of things. We don't have anyone from Public Works today, but I think we should give a round of applause to our Public Works crews for the tremendous job they did to clean up after all of our hurricanes. And this last cleanup took them several weeks to do, but they were very diligent and they got out there and they really did a great job. And they're very, as we all know, they're very dedicated to the city of Beaufort. The Fall Beacon, which is the publication that is mailed to residents and businesses, should be coming to your mailboxes maybe before Thanksgiving, if not, hopefully right thereafter. But it has some articles about some of the things that have been going on in the city, just to bring you up to date with where we are on certain things, so keep an eye out for that. And then I am actually retiring in early December, and I just wanted to share that. So this is probably my last meeting of the neighborhood group, but I just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed getting to know all of you and to share information with you and convening these groups and getting good speakers. And I really do appreciate the neighborhoods of Beaufort and just how committed all of you are to your own neighborhoods. And I think that the neighborhoods really make a difference in this city. So thank you all. And we'll be in touch before that, maybe. If we get bad weather, I'll be sending you updates on that. So I just wanted to hear from our neighborhood groups and just see what's going on with you that you want to share with the group. And hey, I'm just gonna start with you because I know Kitchen Point always has some news.
Don't you think I've already had enough? I echo what Kathleen said about Public Works. They were incredible during these storms. It was just amazing. I even had somebody come through my neighborhood on a Sunday of all things. So they really were wonderful. I want to thank the city folks who are here today because it is a council meeting, and I know some of you are going to be here like until 9 o'clock tonight. So take a nap. I heard people sort of gasp when Lieutenant Squire said something about the number of encounters, I guess. If you don't understand, if you don't have a good understanding of what these city departments do, one of the great ways to find out is to go on the city's website, look at the agenda for example, for tonight's meeting, and go to the area where there are departmental reports. It'll take you days if you read through all of this stuff, but it's just breathtaking to see how much all these city departments are doing, almost a minute by minute kind of thing. So I really do encourage anybody who doesn't have a good understanding of that, and I try to say that in newsletters to our neighborhood. I hope people are reading that information because it really is almost astonishing to see how much goes on. And things are good in Pigeon Point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any other updates from any neighborhoods here, Jeremiah?
Yeah. Jeremiah Smith with the Old Commons neighborhood. Just a quick thank you to the Northwest Quadrant and Old Commons, to everyone who came out, including the candidates, to make our 3 joint candidate forums in September and October. And we had a 4th, but Hurricane Helene wiped it out. Many have heard maybe already, but we lost someone in our neighborhood, Pat Musgrave. She was a loving and active member of our community. We used to see her walking around a lot in the evenings. Want to extend an invitation to everyone, especially our friends and neighbors in the Northwest Quadrant, to come and join us at our annual Thanksgiving potluck. It's going to be Thursday, November 21 at 6 p.m. at our usual meeting place, which is Wesley's Education Building. And then Old Commons and Northwest Quadrant, along with Love Beaufort at St. Helena's, has been doing a couple home repair projects the last few months, last quarter. Just wanted to make the city aware of that. I know they're working on their own list of dilapidated structures and all that, vacant and abandoned buildings, but we're doing our part as well to make sure they don't get that bad and helping out some of the less fortunate homeowners. We have a lazy Sunday bike ride twice a month, second and fourth Sundays. We meet at the post office. It's just fun. A lot of kids come. It's slow paced. If you want to know more, let me know. And then we do a bike bus on Fridays every morning. Just kids get together and bike to school. Right now, we're just doing Holy Trinity, but if you know anybody who wants to get involved, we go from downtown and we just added another route on the Spanish Moss Trail. It's just a great way to start the kids' day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremiah. I know Peggy's got her hand raised online. So why don't we bring her in? Peggy, are you there?
She unmuted herself.
Oh, hey Peggy, can you hear us?
It's on. It's on.
You gave me most of that information, so maybe I covered it.
Well, while we're waiting, is there anyone else that wants to share anything from your neighborhood? Do you think we can get Peggy?
It's completely on her to figure it out. She's unmuted, so I can't do anything from here.
Peggy, why don't you, if you've got any info you want to share with the group, you can email it to me and I'd be happy to distribute it. I'm sorry we can't, that there's a little breakdown in communication right now. But I'd be happy to send that out. Just wanted to wish everyone a very, okay.
Kathleen, I just want to say that you really revitalized this group. Thank you very much for doing that. We're going to miss you a lot.
Well, I enjoyed it. Several of you know this, but I actually live in the dreaded Bluffton, the town that Beaufort doesn't want to become. But we moved there before I started my job here, and I actually am. I love Bluffton. It's very different from Beaufort, but I do remember on one of the first days I worked here, and I went out to lunch with Linda Roper, and she said Beaufort is such a special place, and of course she grew up here and went to high school here, and I mean grade school and high school, and started working here at a very young age, and it really is a special place. So I just really am so grateful that I've had the chance to work here and to showcase just how special it is, and to distribute, news about our city, because I am very proud of the city of Beaufort and everything that it's done. So anyway, happy Thanksgiving to all of you and happy holidays, and hope you have a great rest of November and December, and all the best in 2025.
Thanks, Kathleen. Thank you.